Hello there, everybody! It is I, Tony, aka TTBurger88, and welcome to a special TTBurger review here. This is actually not going to be a game review or anything like that. This is going to be a review on a console itself. And joining me for this is...
Razor Blade 1812.
Yep, that's right, people. And today we're going to be reviewing a console here, like I said. We're going to be reviewing a console that's one of my favorite consoles of all time. The Sony PlayStation itself. Yep, that's Sony PlayStation itself, and yep, as you can see, this is the original, no PlayStation, and we have the, if I can get over here, we have the small one right here. As you can see, yep, the one's called PS6, one's called PS1. But now what does it say about the PlayStation? Well, this bad boy was started developing in the year 1993 in Japan, and
after the whole aftermath of the Nintendo PlayStation agreement, that was pretty much quite of a fail, because the original story behind it is that this was actually supposed to be a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo. Well, it was seeing that the Sega CD was currently on the rise, and well, after some kind of after the deal kind of went wrong, that's when Sony left and Nintendo was left with nothing before they pretty much went to Philips, and then they also was kind of a scrub, and then there was the CDI, and then there were all these horrible Mario and Zelda games on the CDI, which you probably still know about. And then when Nintendo saw that the Sega CD wasn't doing so well, they decided to say, no, let's not make a CD add-on for the Super Nintendo. Let's just, no.
Make our own thing.
Yeah. That's when the PlayStation came in. It was released in December 3rd, 1994, only in Japan, before it was released in September 1995 in the West.
Yep, and unfortunately, I did not get a Sony PlayStation till late 1998, and I remember the very first time I ever saw a PlayStation, which I mentioned this story in my Croc review, but I'll mention it again in case people didn't watch it. I saw my cousin; she was playing the game Croc, and this was when I first learned that games should be on CDs, well, excluding PC games like that, and this was the first CD-based console that I played, and a lot of good games on it, tons of good games on it. Started out with Ridge Racer, Tekken, Soul Blade,
Air Combat, Ace Combat, Gran Turismo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk,
Croc, like I mentioned,
Klonoa, Gex, Pandemonium. I mean, there's so many awesome games for the PlayStation that it will make your head spin. Vigilante 8 is also a great game.
Twisted Metal,
Future Cop LAPD,
Roll Cage,
Wipeout,
and
Cheat Police,
yeah,
Colony Wars, Destruction Derby,
lots and lots, and Medal of Honor, and Disruptor, and more and more and more. It's like so many games. In the West here, there's 1,492 games for the PlayStation. When they first started out, they came in these big ass cases, which I can't show you actual cases of them right now because I didn't bring them over here with me, but I can tell you that like the original PlayStation games came in these long cases. Well, the first type was shaped like a Saturn case. The second one was pretty much this plastic one that had like little fringes on them at the end, and then you had the cardboard ones. In fact, since I'm a nice guy, why don't you wait here? I get a couple of them for you, just 'cause I'm a nice guy.
Oh yeah, and in PAL regions, many PlayStation 1 games came in these cases here, in these sort of fat CD cases, as you can see here. This is what most of the PAL games did come out in. Although there are certain games, however, if I can get it out, that come in these somewhat smaller cases. As you can see, they're actually a lot smaller than the Although
Yeah.
yeah, a lot smaller. They're actually just the same size as a normal CD case. And then you actually also had games in PAL regions that come in a double jewel case. Well, which is usually used for multi-CD games, but sometimes it's also for a one-disc game. But here, this is Nova Storm. This is actually what came in on 2 discs.
I love that game. I love that game. And now that I came back, here's the regular Saturn case. You can tell it's basically like a Saturn case, and for the most part it's good. Only problem is that like after a while these hinges right here can crack off. The second time, like I said, this is the cardboard one, and this one is a cool looking one, but the problem is that like, see the box art here? It had to be glued because it was coming off, and these hinges can break off too. And I remember like I had a copy of this game, Starlight Alpha. The original copy had a hinge breaking on the bottom. Luckily I found another one at the local disc store. And finally we got these cardboard ones. These are the best ones. And I forgot to mention that most of these games come with these little gray protective sponges, which I think are to prevent dust from getting into your case and start the game and stuff like that. But these were awesome. I mean, like I owned about 62 of these long box games here, and the first one I ever got was Tekken, then Primal Rage, then D, and I think let's see the one I got, and then I got Alien Trilogy, and then Twisted Metal, and then it's a long history, and then Doom and with after that and stuff. It's kind of a complicated history, but still, I like it, yes. But,
oh yeah, and there were also 4 PlayStation 1 games that came in these weird cardboard cases. That there were only 4 of them. There was the original Tekken. Then there was Mortal Kombat 3. There was Warhawk, and there was Total NBA 97 in the limited edition, which of course in America it's called NBA Shootout 97.
yeah, I didn't really collect any of the sport games because I mean I did collect some sport games, but I didn't really get into them well because I mean as a kid, more kids my age are playing like racing games and stuff.
Yeah. Which of course there's the Gran Turismo series, as I mentioned. There's Gran Turismo 1 and 2, which are 2 excellent racing games. Then, of course, you have the TOCA series. You've got TOCA 1, TOCA 2, and TOCA World Touring Cars. Well, the latter one, though, it was actually released in the U.S. as Jarrett and Labonte Stock Car Racing. Then, of course, you have rally games like Comic Ray Rally 1 and 2, 2 pretty awesome rally games. And you also have the Ridge Racer series, like you've mentioned, but there's also, well, Ridge Racer Revolution, there's Ridge Racer Type 4, pretty awesome games.
Or R4 Ridge Racer Type 4 is what it's called here as well. But yeah, like I just remember like the very first game I ever got from my PlayStation was Tomb Raider 2 and the demo disc. I remember how we first learned about PlayStation. I was going upstairs to get a snack, and then my brother who was 5 years old at the time. No, wait. Actually, he was 6 years old at the time. And then he said, "Hey, Tony, look, we got a surprise for you. It's a PlayStation." And I said, "We just have Tomb Raider 2 and this demo disc." And I remember the demo disc had games like Parappa the Rapper on there, Armored Core, Star Wars Masters of Terrace Kasi, and it had videos for Gex 2 and Gran Turismo, and there was also Jet Moto 2 on there, and there was Tomb Raider 2 on there as well, and there was Fighting Force and stuff. And I remember being totally in awe about how cool how cool it was to have a Star Wars game on the PlayStation. And yes, I know a lot of people did not like Masters of Terrace Kasi, but I enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite fighting games. I mean, yes, I know like it's got some problems with it here and there, but think about it. Would you rather play a game like fucking Crittergom or Cardinal Sin, and where the enemy eye can just beat you up like crazy? Yeah, sure, whatever. But I just be like being a kid and stuff like that. I was not allowed. I'd be like, being a kid, you're not allowed to get that many games when you're younger and stuff.
Yeah, because the majority of the games were, of course, rated M, and which, of course, you couldn't play them. Like I actually had Resident Evil 2 as one of the first games for the PlayStation. I obviously wasn't really allowed to play this at my young age, but then at some kind of occasion I was playing it. I even saw my mom playing it at one point, and yeah.
And then we gotta mention that like the games came also in this greatest hits cases, which I never understood what they were for. Well, greatest hits here. Here's the funny thing. I don't have any greatest hits games anymore. All the greatest hits versions of my games I sold, and now all my PS1, PS2, and PS3 games are all Black Label. I never had a Black Label PS3 game. No, I mean I never had a greatest hits PS3 game. All of them were always Black Label. But PS2 I had like 4 greatest hits games. But PS1, let's see which greatest hits games I had. Of course, there was Air Combat, there was Siphon Filter, there was Driver, there was Medal of Honor, and Driver 2, Medal of Honor Underground, Rayman, and Nuclear Strike, Soviet Strike, and Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And those were, I think, yeah, wait, did I mention Twisted Metal as the greatest hits game? Then yeah, and that was pretty much all the greatest hits games I owned before I got the Black Label ones. There may have been more, but I don't really own them, and Spyro 2 as well, so yeah. I think about 12 of those, I lost track of count. But I never really understood the greatest hits versions of games, because like, I don't know, it's like, I feel like it's just something with a green logo on it too, but I tell you right now, like, the PlayStation console has my favorite video game of all time on there, which is Tekken 3.
Oh yeah, which was also the very, very first Tekken game that I've actually played and owned.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the funny thing, like, I first heard of Tekken through Tekken 3, I know I goofed it up, I was telling Toby this the other day. I first heard of Tekken 3, but the first Tekken game I ever played arcade-wise and console arcade-wise was Tekken 2, so that's kind of what I
Oh yeah, and not to mention, this was also the very first fighting game I ever owned, except that this wasn't the very first fighting game I ever played. Because there was, of course, Dead or Alive, which I played on the demo beforehand, and it was actually the first fighting game that I've seen.
Well, to be honest with you, like, when it comes to like owning fighting games and playing and stuff like that, I really don't count the demos because that's not the full game. Like, if you get the full game of it, then, in my opinion, that's the first game you ever play. Like, even though I played Star Wars Master Terrace Kasi before playing Tekken 3, that was just a demo. I didn't get the full game until afterwards and stuff. But like, yeah, like, I just remember like being in awe, like, with Tekken 3 as well, cause like I remember like my dad would watch me play, and I remember like the first time I ever played Tekken 3, I was King, and I was versing Xiao Yu, and I lost to her, and my mom said, "You lost to a girl, you chicken poop," and I was like, yeah, I lost to a girl, and the funny thing is, after I beat the game with King, I ended up playing as Xiao Yu, and then I ended up kicking ass as Xiao Yu and stuff like that. So,
and you know what's funny? When I actually played the demo of Tekken 3 for the first time, there of course were only Xiao Yu and Eddie. And Eddie...
I know, I played that too.
Yeah, and Eddie was apparently the first character I played with.
Me too, because like he was the guy and stuff like that. But here's the funny thing: when I first played the Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, I did not know that you could press the square button or the square button to get the player 1 costumes. I would always keep pressing X and kept getting the alternate costume. I was wondering, why am I only getting the alternate costumes and stuff? And then one day I just decided to mess around with the buttons or wait for the timer to run out. And then boom, I pressed square, and then boom, I was just, oh, nice. Now I can actually leave, because like I thought they wouldn't allow you to do that for some reason, but it was very, very cool. And yeah, and I also should mention that the demo Tekken 3 is on the second bonus disc for multiple copies of R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, and I have that bonus disc in my copy of R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, so I thought I might put that out there. But man, this is nostalgia here, growing up so fast. Like, the PlayStation, I think the PlayStation probably disbanded in 2004, around 2004, because there were still some games coming out for 2003, but like there weren't that many.
Yeah, and most of them were just crappy, shitty budget games like those from Midas or Phoenix games, like the ones you have in PAL regions, like in Europe over here.
Yeah. And don't forget about games like Largo Winch, Commando SAR, and stuff like that. But in 2001, we were shown the small PS1, and this thing, like, I'm not trying to quote AVGN here when he did it with CDI view, but you can fit this small one inside this big one. It's like father and son, like this, like, "Hey son, it's time to go." And then Junior would say, "Okay, Dad, coming right now." And then they all retired as a happy family. And I can tell you now, the problem with this old one is that like the disc thing just doesn't close properly at times, so you gotta keep like playing. I don't know, I guess mount the console on, like pressing it down to like get it to work. Yeah, I know, stupid me for trying to, oh there we go. But yeah, just fun times. Like I give the PlayStation definitely a perfect 10 out of 10, and the small one here gets a perfect 10 as well. Do you have anything else to say about the PlayStation?
Well, it's an amazing console that I had some really great times with playing it.
Oh wait, there's one thing we forgot to mention here: the controllers. As you can see here, this is the original PlayStation 1 controller. This is before the analog one came. As you can see, it's got 4 shoulder buttons, a D-pad, 4 buttons on the right, and a start and select button, and it was simple.
Yes, it was pretty much a carryover from the SNES, which of course had a very similar controller, except it didn't have the 2 shoulder buttons on the bottom. Only one on top.
Yeah, and this was great because considering the N64 controller had so many buttons on it, it was just crazy. I mean, I'm not bashing the N64, but still. And then, like around 1998, 1999, we were introduced to the analog ones that had a rumble feature and 2 little analog sticks here to help
Even though the analog stick was actually already introduced in 1997, and it was just the analog controller before it became the DualShock controller since 1998 that we know since then.
Games like one game on the system requires you to use this analog, and that's Ape Escape. Yeah, and of course here before we got the small PS1 controller, which is basically the same thing, except that it's lighter color to match the color of the console. And that's pretty much it I gotta say about the PS1.
Oh yeah, and we also want to talk about the Net Eurasi system, which was this PlayStation development kit in which you can make your very own games with. And they were actually...
I didn't hear about this.
Well, that's because you only lived in America and you weren't the PlayStation Underground subscriber that you probably should have been. But in Europe, though,
I should have, but I was too young.
I have heard a lot about Net Eurasi, and that was, of course, through these PlayStation demo discs that I had. And there were so many games that I actually played from the Net Eurasi. Games like Rocks and Gems, Psychon, Hover Car Racing, and my very first one, Terra Incognita, which of course was so good that that it was amazing. Oh yeah, and you also had like Total Soccer, soccer game, soccer game, and you had like this Mahjong game that I didn't really understand how to play, but it was kind of crazy to see, a game based off a game that not many of us know about. Well, the people in Japan and Asia do know about, but we don't. Except that, the developer of the game, Gerhard Rittenhofer, somehow was kind of a fan of Mahjong, and he actually made the game, which is kind of crazy. There was also Haunted Maze and Blitter Boy.
Wow.
And Super Bob Contest, which is pretty similar to Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, as the fact that it's a puzzle game.
Oh, nice! I wish I knew about this. But
and there was also this one Net Eurasi game that we Europeans didn't get to play until much later, when we had access to a whole bunch of Net Eurasi games from the internet. That, of course, is Hover Racing, which, of course, you did get it in the States, but you only get it through the PlayStation Underground CD magazine.
Oh man, I wish I would have subscribed to PlayStation Underground. I wish I was. Me being a total PlayStation fan, I wish I knew about this. Oh man. But you got anything else to say about the PlayStation?
Well, amazing system. Also has a really cool development kit that, of course, has where you can make your own games on, and awesome system.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.